Good evening, everyone. I am just coming to you with a little bit of masculine energy talk tonight. I guess it's been a weird time. Now, I guess at some point, everyone's experienced this whole COVID epidemic worldwide. Currently, I'm experiencing it from Melbourne, Australia, and I lost my job in March. It's now August, and I guess as this, last whatever 3, 4, 5 months development in my head about the masculine side and providing and purpose and meaning. And I've thought about this longer than the last 6 months, but for the last 6 months, or at least, I've had more time to think about it. And, a feeling of freedom has come over me, certainly. Number one, because I was in a workplace that I didn't necessarily want to be at. I felt trapped, and now that's not really an excuse for anyone, because anyone can just make the decision to move. I felt like in the moment that I couldn't. So anyway, that's another story. The point that I'm trying to make is purpose and masculinity and how it all works. So I've just been journaling, and it's popped up for me over the last couple of days. I just had my 32nd birthday in July, and this whole thing in my head about I should have a clear set purpose, or at least this is what I feel or what I think or what society has led me to believe I should have down pat. And I'm just like, I don't have this down pat. I really don't. And then today, I find it funny when I hear of new people to listen to, and it's not new at all. So this guy, I've always spoken about a book called Manhood, and it was in my little thing here. I saw it popping out, and I was just like, I'd been writing about masculinity, Manhood popped up, and I always called this guy Steve Biddip. I just found out that it's actually Biddif, PH is F, learned a bit of English along the way. But I love that book, and in that book, just reading another part actually got me to Robert Bly, and I watched his YouTube clip today on a gathering of men, and it really struck me. It really, when I say hit a nerve, it got me to a deeper place of feeling and understanding and just thinking about the men these days, 2020, previous days, how we've been conditioned to think, feel, or not feel, suppress all that stuff, and beat the chest and all that, and none of that ever seemed congruent with me. So then therefore you can understand how you're like, well, you're trying to find your true north, but what's true north? And like I said, just listening to that today really got me grounded in the masculine, and be like, okay, well, we can search for this meaning or purpose, and it doesn't need to be anything extravagant, anything crazy. It can just be in your everyday life, because this is the part that I'm actually getting to. We feel like success or dominating or smashing the other bloke, that's what's going to get us to progress. And it's just once again, none of that stuff made sense to me. It just doesn't gel with me when I'm listening to the likes of what I've got here, Eckhart Tolle, Dan Millman, Wayne Dyer. Listening to these people are, when I hear them speak and listen to their perspective and perception, I'm just like, okay, this is making sense in my head. That's sort of giving you a nutshell of where my headspace is at the moment. one thing that I wanted to acknowledge myself, I was actually listening to, like I said, that Robert Bly, and he was talking about someone else that was saying like men like a yearning for, I think he said appreciation, or another bloke saying, you're alright, you're good, and it's like as men we're yearning for that, and we never get it because that's just not cool to do. And I'm giving myself a shout out right now because for the first time I felt that my worth was more than what society said that I should do as a man. Let me unpack that for a second. So I've been at home, like I said, since March, and it was like, okay, I need to provide for my family. Even though we're okay, I need to provide for my family. And so I've been like applying for jobs. A few things, fell through, couldn't work, so on and so forth. And then I applied for this job. Now, just to give you a little background on this part, I love my podcasts and biohacking and all these things. I've got my blue blockers on, Aura Ring. It's all happening, scanning everything. Bianca has a laugh about it, but whatever. So I hear all this stuff about like health and longevity and where to go and what to do and so on and so forth. And one of the massive things I've got in my head is sleep. Like I've felt fatigue over the years because I've tried to push myself hard, whether it be physically or mentally or trying to accomplish something. Yeah, in any sense of what that means. Like I said, I've done it physically and I've done it like in a business, and I've exhausted myself and I feel horrendous. And it's just like, no, sleep is important. And then listening to Sleep Smarter, Sean Stephenson, or Joe Rogan's podcast with, I think it was Matthew Walker, and they talk about the importance of sleep. And I just intuitively know that's true, because when this thing says that, like heart rate variability is good, like I feel good. It makes sense that all this data makes sense. Anyway, the point of my story is I applied for a job that was night shift. And I've got it in my head. I say it to my brother-in-law all the time. I've got it in my head that, listening to this Matthew Walker guy, shift work has come in as a carcinogen. I don't know which country they've actually defined it as that. So, like, the idea that shift work is okay. I'm shout out to everyone who does shift work. In the medical industry or police or wherever the people are doing that and sacrificing themselves. Hats off to you. Me personally, I just don't want to do it. Anyway, I applied for a job in that field, and Bianca's just saying to me like, "What are you doing?" And in the moment, I just thought, "Well, I'm providing, or at least that's what I think that I'm doing." And then in the moment, I just said, "No, I just don't want to do it." I felt sick to my stomach to think that I had to do that, and I emailed the HR and I said, "No. Sorry, I'm going to retract my application." And I felt so free in the moment. I felt like a man, like masculine. It was crazy. It was madness. And all it was just an acknowledgement of like, okay, that's where you're at. That's the decision that you chose to make, as opposed to, like I said, in my last workplace, like I can't leave. Well, I could leave, but I chose not to. I could have done this job, but I'm choosing not to. So I guess this is encompassing, there's a whole raft of deeper meanings and concepts here which I would love to discuss, and I probably will in further talks, but this is just my headspace at the moment, and I hope it can help someone else move forward.